Drama Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Well, when we talk about the legends, you got one side or the other side with the legends. The fight of the century, wasn't that? What, 215? When was that? 2015? Floyd Money Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. Pac-Man Pacquiao, 8th division champ. Manny Pacquiao, 62 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws with 39 KOs. 8th division champ. This is Manny Pacquiao we talk about. Let's run off a few wins Manny Pacquiao has so you'll understand we're going to give him respect because I got to say a few things, that's not pro Pacquiao. But let's make sure it's clear. We're talking about some of the very best guys. Pacquiao has beaten Broner, barely in my opinion, but he beat Broner. Beat Matisse when I thought was going to be a close fight. Beat the hell out of Matisse. Beat the hell out of him. Beat Keith Thurman recently, which is his best win of late. Beat Keith Thurman. He didn't take a dope test on that fight. So that fight, for me, I have my reservations. I mean, listen, guys. Anybody don't take a dope test for a fight, I have reservations, and you should too. But he's on the level of Thurman. He beat him. Barely, but beat him. Beat Vargas, too. Wasn't close. Beat Timothy Bradley. Took Timothy Bradley's, matter of fact. Think about that. Chris Algieri. People say, well, he's a light-fisted guy. But, Chris Algieri, if nothing else, Chris Algieri is disciplined. Okay? He's disciplined. He couldn't get Algieri out of there, but he's disciplined. He beat Algieri, too. Beat Brandon Rios. Come on now, which that was a given. Brandon Rios too slow for Pacquiao. Beat Miguel Cotto, legend. Beat him. Beat Margarito. Everybody know Margarito for them hand wraps. Beat Marquez. Marquez is a legend. Beat Marquez. Beat Barrera, legend, right? Beat Shane Mosley, legend. Beat Ricky Hatton, legend. Beat Oscar De La Hoya, super legend. Beat Eric Morales, legend, right? So he's taking care of business, right? He's taking care of business. But any of those names that I just mentioned from those wins, is there anybody in there that Mayweather wouldn't have beat, right? Anybody? Because most of the time Mayweather beat them before he beat them. You know what I'm saying? So anybody, like with Oscar De La Hoya, Mayweather fought him at 154 when De La Hoya was De La Hoya. He didn't bring him down to 147 when he was all drained late in his career. So a lot of things like that. So, let me just say this how I feel. Anybody that would rather Manny Pacquiao's legacy over Floyd Mayweather's legacy, to me, is irresponsible. I don't think you should be saying that, right? I can't. For the life of me, I can't understand the thought pattern. Now I hear the 8th division champion. Awesome. It's really about 6 divisions, but it's 8 divisions. But nowadays we got a whole bunch of championships you can get. The 8th division is cool, but say that to somebody who was fought in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, when there was only 3 belts, right? And it was only like, how many weight divisions? What, lightweight? You go straight from lightweight to welterweight, no junior in between there, right? From welterweight to middleweight. No, nothing in between there. No junior. From middleweight to light heavyweight. Nothing in there. No, but I'm saying from light heavyweight to heavy. All those other weight divisions weren't in there. So it's awesome 8 division champ. But you have all these divisions and juniors and super divisions, and then they'll have just one belt. So you got to beat the very best guy in that division. You can just beat any guy. But we talked about how many belts there are. There's 4 that we care about, with other ones coming through the back door. IBO, IB8, that's 6. The regular championship from the WBC, for the WBA, that's 7. And the franchise from the WBC. Not to mention the gold and the diamond, right? That's about 10 championships. So let's slow that down, because regular shouldn't count. Now, should it? So, so there was a few things, but Manny Pacquiao is all that. And so when you're thinking about each other, you got to think, when you say Pacquiao, you think about Mayweather. When you say Mayweather, you think about Pacquiao. When you say Muhammad Ali, you think about Frazier or Foreman, right? You think about Sugar Ray Leonard, then you start thinking about Duran and Hagler and Hearns. Now, don't you? So you think about the rivals. So when we say that, and many people have said of late, that Manny Pacquiao's legacy is better. If it was Max Kellerman, a renowned person who's been talking boxing for at least 20 years, right? He thinks that he said that a couple of years ago, that he kind of thinks that Pacquiao's legacy is better. You've seen lately Bernard Hopkins has said that, Buddy McGurk has said that, and a few others. I think it's irresponsible. If you're black, definitely, right? Because at the end of the day, Floyd Mayweather was never beaten. He wasn't really in close fights. And the reason why I think it's irresponsible is because the reason. You always hear the Floyd Mayweather was cherry picking opponents. Name them. No, don't just say because that's how it is. You didn't fight nobody, or stuff like that, but you don't name them. So you can name the nobodies, right? Mayweather and Deontay go through the same thing. Name the cherry picked guys, because I know Floyd Mayweather fought guys on their best after their best win, on long winning streaks, and all of that. Hall of Famers. I mean, a whole lot of Hall of Famers. And there was separation there. Manny Pacquiao, there's no separation with Pacquiao and Marquez now, is there? Floyd Mayweather fought him after a 2-year layoff. And what happened to Marquez? Right? Mayweather's 1 pound heavier than Marquez, and they start saying he's too heavy for Marquez. But Marquez is in fights with Manny Pacquiao. I just don't see it. Now, Manny Pacquiao, he got 7 losses. That's another reason why you just don't. Mayweather fought 50 times and was in 1 close fight, for a really close fight. That was Castillo. The fight with big old cheating old, my boy, I forget his name, for Argentina right now, Maidana, that wasn't really close. That was just close because it was, oh man, Mayweather didn't have extreme separation with this guy. He kept throwing punches. Cool, we'd like to see that again because it was not just a blowout. But it wasn't really close, right? It wasn't really close. Anybody else fighting Madonna and did as good as Mayweather, they would have been awesome. But we're judging Mayweather a lot harder. And I think, Julio Cesar Chavez said this too, about Manny Pacquiao was the GOAT in his opinion. Julio Cesar Chavez. Now these guys, Bernard Hopkins, Julio Cesar Chavez, that's why I have to make sure this is clear. With all due respect to these great boxers, I still think it's irresponsible to put Manny Pacquiao's legacy above Floyd Mayweather's legacy. I just don't see that, right? And I think as boxers, right, when you see somebody moving weight division and his defense is on and there's no doping issues, right? When they fought, there was separation between Mayweather and Pacquiao. And if they would have fought earlier, it would have been non-dope. So the guy who didn't want to fight because he didn't want to take a dope test in 2009, he's better. The guy who lost against the guy when they finally fought is better, right? The guy who had close fights with Marquez, and Mayweather whitewashed Marquez, and Marquez will tell you who's better, but Pacquiao's better. So I just think, like I said, the word I'm trying to say is irresponsible because it's nice to say. But my man lost to Floyd Mayweather. He just lost to Jeff Horn, right? Mayweather wouldn't have lost to Jeff Horn, right? He lost to Marquez, got knocked out flatline against Marquez. He lost to Eric Morales and a couple of, early in his career. Now, let's end this on positive Pacquiao things. Pacquiao is the bomb, right? I have a couple of doping issues because you can't, for me, you don't win the Thurman fight. I can't say you won the Thurman fight, but I'll keep it consistent, right? Alexander Povetkin didn't beat Carlos Takam or anybody before January 2018, right? Because that was Madonium was running rampant over there, right? So none of those. Or anybody that was doped, Dillian White didn't beat Oscar Rivas, right? For example, I'm just thinking of some right now. If you were doped, you didn't get the fight. From me, I don't know, sometimes they don't even have an asterisk next to them fights. The dude who was doped still got the fight. If you were doped, even Tony Thompson, he didn't beat David Price on that first fight, right? As much as I would have liked Tony Thompson to have beat David Price in that first fight, because David Price was all that, right? And Tony Thompson was old, and they called him on short notice and got beat. But he was doped. Doesn't count. David Price lost once to Tony Thompson, in my opinion. So, when you have those kind of things also involved, right? And a lot of people think Pacquiao was doping during the time that he was moving up weights and still having his power and still having his speed and all that old stuff. We can't prove that, so that's whatever. So Pacquiao is a legend. He's awesome. He's way up there because of he moves up in weight. He's giving you awesome fights. He's taking people out. And then later in his career, when the doping was over, he still was winning fights, right? So he's awesome, but not Mayweather awesome. So again, with all due respect to all the wonderful fighters that think Pacquiao is better than Floyd Mayweather or higher on the GOAT list than Mayweather, I respectfully disagree. But I disagree a whole lot. We got to find somebody else to argue with when it comes to Floyd Mayweather and GOAT. But it shouldn't be Manny Pacquiao, unfortunately, for people that Pacquiao fans. Got that? Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.